guys, what's up? It's Jan and you're watching Nation ID video. This is a bit of a think about it video because today we'll be talking about Haswell and should you upgrade, what does Haswell bring to the market, and why I am trying to get people to reason with what Haswell is and why, there's no reason to upgrade to have my Sandy Bridge or Ivy Bridge processor. So let's first talk about what Haswell is. Haswell is the code name for Intel's 4th generation core processors, so that's their Core i5 and Core i7. There's no Core i3 as of yet for the desktop side. There probably are for mobile processors. So when you're trying to upgrade your desktop with an i3, it's not going to exist yet. We do expect it to come soon though, so expect that. Or not expect it, whatever. So in relation, last generation we had Ivy Bridge, which was the 3rd generation, and that was your 3770K, 3570K, 3220, and all your other Intel processors that everyone knows and loves. So what is Haswell, other than it's just the next generation? So Haswell is creating a lot of controversy with people trying to upgrade or build their PCs because people are saying, I have a 3770K or 2600K and I don't have any reason to upgrade, there's no performance benefit. And everyone's saying, well, Haswell should have been a large microarchitecture difference from the Bridge series, which is Sandy Bridge, which includes Ivy Bridge. And so what did Haswell actually do other than let's make a new socket and make everyone buy brand new motherboards? Well, this wasn't necessarily all a money scheme because Haswell did bring a couple things to the market as opposed to just being a new architecture. Although you do get a bit of a performance increase from Ivy Bridge, it's not as big as you expect as from the original 3-digit Intel processors to the 4-digit core processors, which was the 1st generation to 2nd generation. You're not getting that much of a difference, but Haswell is adding to the market in a big way. So let's start talking about that. First, everyone knows that, or a lot of people know, that Haswell is actually bringing a lot with the integrated GPU aspect, the integrated graphics, with HD graphics for 4600 and 5000 series. All 5000 will not appear on your desktop class as of yet. We may or may not get it with the desktop, but what the 4600 brings to the market is you can have 3 times as much integrated GPU power as your standard 4000, 3000, 2000 graphics that you got with Sandy Bridge, Ivy Bridge, and before that. So what's that mean? Well, if you're not running a GPU, if you're trying to build a PC with some sort of gaming performance without having to buy a dedicated GPU, such as, NVIDIA card, dual slot card, you don't want to add anything, or maybe your expansion slots are all filled, you have an MITX or MATX build and you don't have any expansion slots. Well, you can use it if you're just using for standard productivity use and with a side of gaming. That's what Haswell brings to the market, so that's one reason to upgrade. In addition, if you want to use some features like Intel QuickSync or Lucid Logic's Virtue MVP, which probably is going to change by the time it rolls out to the markets, but it allows you to have more performance with your games by using your integrated GPU and importing that to your games, or QuickSync, where it allows you to use the integrated GPU for video transcoding or rendering, pretty much, which is what I would use it for if I had Haswell, but I already have the Ivy Bridge system, so I don't really have a reason to upgrade yet, which I'm going to talk about later on. What also brings to the market is all the extra features. So I have a Z77 board here, and with Ivy Bridge we were introduced with, and Sandy Bridge I believe, we were introduced with adding things like native USB 3 support, gigabit Ethernet, which we probably already had before that, and SATA Generation 3, which allowed you to use 6 gigabit per second. Well, with Intel, you were given only 4 6 gigabit per second ports for SATA. Now Intel is allowing you to use 6. I believe it was 2. It was 2 6 gigabit per second ports. Now we're giving 6 on the CPU side and the chipset side. For USB 3, I believe we were given 4. Now we are given 6. So we're giving some advantages if you're going to use USB 3 or you have a lot of storage like SSDs, which are now saturating SATA 3. Then Haswell might be an option for you because you have more expansion slots using native expansion. Also, what we are given on Haswell is some other unique things, like we're using new power saving modes. You need to actually get a rated or certified power supply that is allowing you to have your power supply run efficiently at a significantly lower load with the new C6 and C7 states, I believe, which allow you to just run even less than 50 watts out of the wall, which is crazy because that is like a significant decrease from most other CPUs. But on the flip side, instead of using all that feature, the feature that how they implement that is by adding the VR, or the voltage regulation, onto the CPU itself, so at least some of it. So instead of seeing some of the high-end voltage regulation on like high-end motherboards like this RG board, we're actually seeing on the CPU, and that is one of the reasons why Haswell outputs a little bit more heat. People are complaining that Haswell, oh my goodness, it has 10 degrees, 5 to 10 degrees hotter than Ivy Bridge overclocks and even Sandy Bridge overclocks, which is bad because temperature means I have to have more cooling and more other things. Yes, this is a trade-off because we want to have more efficient computers and less power saving, or more power savings rather, and on the flip side we are just doing some weird stuff with our CPU by making it hotter. That is a reason. They didn't just indiscriminately make your CPU hotter for the heck of it. We had to do it for a reason. Or they had to do it for a reason. Now, on the other side of why it's heating up is they're perhaps, I don't have a Haswell CPU so I can't confirm this, using a less efficient TIM or heat spreader that they cheaped out on it, and that's the reason why it got hotter. That's also a reason. You also have those extra chips and other modules. So yes, Haswell's going to get hotter. Is it just because they cheaped out on it? A little bit, but there are other reasons why Haswell is running hotter than your current generation CPUs from Intel. So what does Haswell bring to the market in terms of improvement? We're having better GPU or iGPU performance, which is a big thing for certain people. Not everyone needs it, and so they don't necessarily need it. You're also given the power savings modes from C6 and C7, which allows your computer to just have extreme power savings when it's not really doing anything, but has enough power to do basic functions like checking your email. You're also given a bit of some of the load that was on the VR to the motherboard itself. So instead of the components around here getting slightly warmer, it's on a CPU, and that's why you have to make it up using your CPU cooling. We're also given better expansion in terms of USB 3 and your SATA 6 gigabit per second ports, or SATA generation 3. So, who is Haswell targeted for? Well, should you upgrade if you're on a Sandy Bridge or Ivy Bridge, or perhaps even a couple generations before that? Not necessarily. If you have enough computing power, then you have enough computing power. That's it. Your computer is, in a sense, future-proof, which is not necessarily true because things are just getting better. So what is Haswell? Haswell's just, it changes everything other than what we were looking at with the CPU side. So we were always saying, oh, we need more cores, we need higher clock speeds. Well, Haswell is just doing other things that not everyone just thinks about, like iGPU and more expansion slots and power savings, which is great for things like tablets and notebooks. So should you upgrade? I'm not upgrading anytime soon. If I build a new PC, I'm probably going to use a Haswell CPU. Reason being, those extra expansion slots and other things. So should you upgrade if you're on a older platform? Not necessarily. If you have enough power, you have enough power. If you actually want to be on the top with technology, then I recommend getting Haswell, I suppose. So I'm Jan from ID. Please be sure to post your comments below on what you think about this topic. If you have any questions, I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. And just be sure to subscribe and like this video to help me and everyone else out. And I'll see you guys soon. Check you guys out later.